I was at basketball game, high school basketball game, Christmas tournaments. And he was sitting up on the top row, about 3 rows behind me. Long story short, I decided that I had to meet him and that I wanted to get to know him. And so I called a friend of mine and said, I want to meet him. And he said, well, Larry kind of thinks for himself. So I said, just introduce me. That's all. So he did. When I got to the ball game, the next ball game, there was only one empty seat on that side of the gym. And it was between Larry and this friend that I had called. And he walked me to the car that night. And from that night forward, we never doubted that we were soulmates. It was never a question. We are here to talk about a 1964 Chevrolet that my husband bought when he was 18 years old. I've never seen a happier young man than when he brought that car into my driveway. I guess the beginning was he proposed to me in it. We were sitting in my folks' front yard in the 64 and he proposed to me. Officially, we always knew we'd get married, but he had the ring and he, did it right.
The photo we have of y'all's wedding day, y'all driving away in the Impala. Do you remember what it was written on? It says Larry, it says Brenda, it says just married, and then it says help.
Some of his friends, they did think he needed help. We were so different. Oh my gosh, we were so different.
And so young.
Yeah. I'd been 17 2 whole weeks. It was our car. It was the only car we had until, oh gosh, you were about 4 years old when we finally bought another car. So we shared it. And so while he was in Vietnam, I drove it to work every day. We had a little apartment, we closed it up, and I went home and lived with my mom and dad while he was in service.
How did he feel about going to Vietnam?
Terrified, angry a little bit, He's drafted, he certainly didn't join. And so it was, our lives were disrupted. I mean, we hadn't even been married a year. We married in June, and he was drafted, he left in February. So we hadn't been married a year. And, but his country called, and he went with the intention of doing the best he could. From what we learned from his comrades, he did good. He was a good soldier. It was such a strange war. I mean, it wasn't, there was no front line. There was nothing, it was just like a job. You would go out and be in war all day, and then you'd come in, and at night he would play guitar at the NCO club. Guys were over there, they had nothing else to do, so they would go to the NCO club and drop money in a helmet. And Larry and his friend Danny would play and sing. He gave them something to do, during the night, so.
Well, after it was restored the first time and he did the car show circuit and he enjoyed it a lot, it kind of got, like things do, that plays it out. And he parked it again for a while, and then we opened our shop, Jackson Speed and Custom, and he said he wanted us to do some work on the car. But he insisted that he be treated like every other customer. He refused any favors whatsoever, so we were blessed with a waiting list, and he insisted on being on the list just like everybody else. So we put him on the list, and when we got to him, he brought the car in just like everybody else. The car was a manual transmission. It was 3-speed, and it wasn't really easy to drive. And it was fun, but it was not easy to drive. And so
it was certainly not easy to drive as you get older and have arthritis in your knees, and that clutch, that's the stiffest clutch I have ever. And And our arthritic knees did not want to do that. So that was one reason.
Yeah, he wanted it back so that he could enjoy it some more. And it was not enjoyable for somebody who had some age on them and some knees that didn't want to cooperate. So we got it in the shop and we changed out the transmission, put an automatic in it, put power steering, power brakes. We even put aftermarket air on it so it would be comfortable. It didn't have air conditioning on it, factory. And just really added some creature comforts and made it easy to drive. And that way they could take it on a few more trips and go on some dates and enjoy it again. And they did. They did.
Was Larry excited when you guys were going to open up your shop?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he thought that was the end all, be all of everything. He loved coming over and just looking at the projects we had going on, and he was always afraid he was going to get in the way. He wouldn't stay long, and he didn't want to interrupt anybody, he didn't want to bother anybody, but every now and then he said he just had to come over and just see what we were doing. And I loved it. I mean, it was fun to do something that you knew made him proud, and he would just beam. He was so proud of us. He loved the shop.
Do you remember the photo that we've got of Shane standing out looking up at that big sign? Mm-hmm. Your daddy loved that picture. Every now and then we'd get it out and we'd say, look at that. He loved that. He was just standing out there with his arms crossed looking at that big sign that said Jackson Speed and Custom. We were so proud for them and of them.
It was a big honor to restore the car because it had always been part of the family, and I knew how important it was to him. It was also kind of nerve-wracking because he was such a perfectionist. Was not nerve-wracking for Shane at all because he is also a perfectionist, and it didn't worry him in the least. They were on the same page about everything, and they had fun. They had fun redoing that car together, and I did too.
It was just such a happy life. I mean, just to wake up and find him there every day. And then after we retired, just to sit and sip our coffee for as long as we wanted to. You know, no hurry. And then we'd put our shorts or swimsuits on and go out and sit by the swimming pool the rest of the day. And, you know, just, we had the good life. We had worked hard while we were young, and we had the good life, and we enjoyed it. You never get enough of a good thing. You just don't, you know. So, but I was fortunate to have had him as long as I did, and the life we had, it's like a storybook. And the 64 is woven all the way through it. I mean, it was there at all the crucial points.
I tell everybody that the car's my big sister because, I mean, honestly, she was in the family before I was. She's still in the...
She was in the family before I was.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel knowing that this car was here on display at some point?
Proud, happy. He would have loved that, to see other people appreciate his car. Yeah, he would have loved that. And Savoy's, I mean, you know, it's a classy place. I was proud to be part of it. Yeah.
I really appreciate it. You know, the car and the story and Daddy and our family and all that, it seems like it's such a big deal to us and it's such a part of my history. But I really appreciate the museum recognizing that, and it seems even bigger now. It seems even more important now because it's been recognized like this, and it's kind of nice to have your story, his story, out there for other people to see. So I'm very appreciative that it's been here and it's had the time on the floor, and it was an honor. I would say on behalf of the family, Mom and my sister and myself, we really appreciate the spotlight on the car. And it came at a good time in our lives to help remember Daddy and to honor him, because the car was such a part of his life and it was so important to him. So I think all of us, Jennifer and I and Mom, really appreciate this. So thank you for the time.
At a time when we needed good things and happy things and significant things to think about and talk about. Yeah. Savoy provided that for us. That was a good thing.